Let's hit it from the top.
We should get like just a POV shot of Jordan for every episode, because there's many times where I look at Jordan, I give him a face, but no one else sees it because of the camera angle.
My GoPro, I can just like wear it on my chin or something.
Jordan always has a GoPro on, so it'll just every, I don't know, once or twice per episode, we'll just have a shot of me going.
Honestly, that wouldn't be a bad bit.
I think it'd
like
be
a secondary camera or something.
It would be kind of funny.
That would actually be kind of funny. Something to think about. But anyway, hit it, big man. Oh, shit. The intro, I'm just...
Man, I'm dead. Hello and welcome to the 91st installment of the Synapse Misfire Podcast. I'm your host, Chris, joined by our co-host, Jordan.
That's me, baby, with the Scoobis-Doobis shirt.
The Scoobis-Doobis.
Scoobis-Doobis.
He's scoobing, he's doobing.
I'm scoobing and doobing. I'm doobing and scoobing. I didn't actually talk about this last episode, so I'll kick it off with that after the formalities. We'll call them
platforms.
The formalities. So, as always, if you wish to listen to this podcast, you can find us natively on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Radio Public, Spotify, and of course, Pocket Casts. My pocket app of choice. Fuck!
Bro.
My podcasting app of choice. And as always, RSS feed linked below. Put it in whatever media consumption app you would like to listen to us in. I wonder if you could put it in Pornhub. We should try that. And
I don't
as
think
always,
so.
Contact us via email, synapsemisfire@pm.me. Comments, questions, concerns, and death threats. And as always, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, which has since been updated since last episode.
Yes.
Because I had the wrong link for the last 6 months.
So, your shirt.
So, this Scoobis-Doobis shirt.
Yeah.
This was a...
it looks very new, by the way.
This was a very cognitive decision to wear.
Really?
So, essentially, I get out my outfits for work. I hang them. I have like it's actually a gun mount, but I put it in the closet to hang stuff because I had an extra one. But, it's like a gun mount or a rifle mount. And I just have it there. So I'll usually I'll hang my belt on it, and then I'll hang a shirt and pants, and that's what I'll put on in the morning. And I don't usually do that on weekends. I only do it during the week for work. But yesterday, I finished showering, and I went to grab clothes, and I was like, no, let me grab something for the podcast. So I reached for the blue Reebok, and I was like, no, I can't do it. I can't have this happen. So we have, Chris might remember this, but it's been a while since he's been in my apartment, and I don't even know if he's really seen our closet, but it's just a long bar. It's 12 feet long, and everything's hanging on it. So it's mine and Letsy's stuff kind of smushed
like a
together.
closet.
And I just grabbed everything. I slid it all to the other direction. I went to the back of the closet.
The way back. So it's not new. It's just it's been in the closet for 18 years.
I got hiking gear. I fucking clambered my way into that closet, dude. I dug out this shirt, and I looked at it, and I went, I bought this in Pennsylvania and never wore it.
So you've had that for over a year.
Yeah, and it's just been sitting in the closet. So I cognitively picked this shirt for two reasons. I've never worn it, and it's something new for the podcast. It's a spooky Scoobis-Doo.
Scooby-Doo.
Spookis-Doo.
All right.
So that's the backstory behind this Spookis-Doo.
So you decided we're going to be doing work where we potentially get dirty or our clothes get damaged. And I'm going to wear a new shirt.
Yeah, hindsight is 20/20 because I did rip my pants and I totally would have worn my other pants if I thought about it.
Jordan, I want to let you in on a secret. This is a very new shirt.
That's right. We were carrying wood.
I got this shirt.
And you kept getting caught and you were saying
I got this shirt last week.
Yeah, I forgot you said that because we were carrying a barrel
damaged,
of
so
fucking
we're good.
vinyl. And it kept digging into you.
It's not damaged though, so we're good.
Yeah.
I'm chilling.
You're like, it's not damaged. You turn around and it's it's all fucking ripped.
It looks like it had been eaten by a moth.
Yeah.
Like a moth got to it. I forgot to put the moth balls away in the drawer with all my winter clothes.
Why do you have moth balls? Just collect moth balls.
I'd be neutering moths.
Did you circumcise them too? Eat the little foreskin?
Yeah. Like an Orthodox Jewish rabbi, I'd use my teeth.
Is that a banana peel? You pinch the head and pull the sides. And it just peels off.
I hate... I'm not entertaining this conversation anymore. I hate construction projects.
We're going to get banned.
Construction projects that particularly take place on the side of the road.
Well, it doesn't help that I'm guessing this is in the city that your school is in, which is literally the fucking city of construction. I don't think I've ever seen it not be under construction.
There's this building that's been in construction for, like, since I was a freshman. And I have to take this... So, it's a building. It's not like the road is under construction.
It's a building.
It's a building that's on the road. You know, it's on the side of the road. You know, where buildings usually are.
Yeah.
Is a building that's under construction. And there's a road I have to take, like a side street I have to take every day that I go to the school. I have to take this side street every day to get to the parking garage so I can park there so I can go to school. Right? Because if I park anywhere else, my car's going to get broken into, my catalytic converter's going to get stolen.
Radio gone.
Radio blown up.
It's going to be a fucking stick of dynamite. You're going to be able to turn it on.
Gas tank, hole drilled, gas siphoned, whole thing.
Brake fluid stolen.
The break-ins and the catalytic converter thing, there's a lot of truth to that. They just got the guy that has been breaking into cars.
In that area?
Yeah, so there's like this one street that was like a fucking hazard to park on. Because there's this just one guy that would go in and smash up your windows and trash. He wouldn't even take anything. He'd trash your car, and that was it.
What if that'd be really easy to catch that person? Like, just put a decoy car there.
Yeah, so they
tinted windows, and I'm just there with a 12 gauge.
I'm assuming that's what happened because they got him. So, anyway, I had to go past this road every day, so I had to go past this construction site. And this road, for being a side street, this is pretty wide. 2 lanes. 2 lanes because it goes to an intersection and you can go either way.
Right or left. Yep.
Right, left. Or you can also go forward, should that tickle your fancy.
Yeah. I do like my fancy tickled.
So, it has not been a 2-lane road for quite some time because the guys doing construction decide they own half of the road now. So they've just blocked this entire lane. And I was driving in, and for some reason, this massive like wheel loader or like some sort of equipment,
machinery,
big vehicle, big hydraulic arm on the front. Little tiny pallet forks. Like they could have just used a forklift. Little pallet forks, and it was lifting up a box that was maybe yay wide. You know? Like you could have carried that with maybe 2 guys, maybe 3. Or you could have used like a forklift. I see that you have one over there.
No, I want the big daddy.
You want the big fuck off Tonka truck that goes 2 miles an hour, and you want to drive that directly into traffic. And hold up the whole goddamn street. So that happened to me in the morning.
Were you there for long? Just stuck?
Not super long, but like a lot longer than it should have to, it took me a lot longer than it should have to go 150 feet.
Right.
So I was annoyed. This is the second time that week I had a hold up with the construction workers where I was in my car yelling at them. So...
Yeah. That's funny.
Twice in 1 week, I just like, hey, other people use this street, assholes. It's a street. We're supposed to drive through, okay? Because these guys also, mind you, will just step out into traffic.
Yeah.
They'll just step out into traffic. How one of them has not been hit surprises me.
Yeah.
It is a mystery to me because they're just not even looking. Step out into traffic.
Yeah. I had a traffic incident on your road this morning on the way in. With fucking people stepping out on the road. There was this fucking bitch behind me in a truck. Right? In like a painting truck. It said like something painting company or something.
Bitch.
I didn't even know it was a woman at the time. And then she fucking like...
Wait, you're saying there can't be male bitches?
Well, I meant bitch in the feminine sense. She's a bitch. So she whips around me for one reason or another. Like, I'm going quite fast. Not as fast as you would go, because I know you usually go pretty quick. But there was a cop that I had just passed.
There you go.
I was going pretty quick. It's a 40. I was on like 55. And this bitch just kind of whips around me. And then we both take the left on the Chris's street. And I'm like, whatever. She takes the left. I get stuck to the light. Like, no big deal. I start to go. I finally get through the light. I go, and she's pulled over on your street. And she hops out of the car. It's a truck with rats. She jumps into the bed, gets her purse out, and I'm just going. And I'm thinking, like, if I was a smart person, right, Chris? Like, just hear me out. If you were in your truck and you were going to climb out the side into traffic, you might get up and go, okay, no cars. Let me go. Mm-hmm. I had a hunch that she was going to be mentally deficient, but... Then she literally is on her truck as I'm driving by. I'm like, let me go wide because there's no one in the other lane. And she fucking leaps over her rats without looking and lands right in the center of the road. That just seems remarkably unintelligent to me.
Why would you even consider doing that?
Yeah.
Why were you even pulled over to begin with? To, like, grab something out of the bed?
She grabbed a purse. Dead serious. Like, I could pull up the dash cam footage. It was a purse. Why is it in the bed?
Yeah, why is it not just in, like, your passenger seat, you dumb bitch? That bothers the shit out of me. As someone who has, in the last 4 months, been stuck on the highway 3 times, you know, getting out of traffic and on the highway, especially on the highway, on any road, you need to be very careful before you open your door.
Yes.
And get out. I was in the breakdown lane, right? But motherfuckers will pull way close to that lane, or they will pull into that lane for no reason.
Yeah.
There's no reason for it, so you gotta be careful. You are in danger.
Yeah. I do like the lean technique, dude. Literally, like, I look at the mirror, I lean forward the whole way, and then I kind of give, like, a glance back as I'm opening the door. Because I'm like, I ain't about to have my door taken off with me with it.
Open the door just a little bit, I squeeze out, and then I, like... put my back against the car and I squeeze around.
Shimmy. You're like a fucking window worker with the squeegees.
It's like when in a video game when you have to like traverse a ledge.
Yeah.
You shimmy up over the side.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. So yeah, that's Audacity's doing a thing right now. Okay. All right, it's good. Sorry, it just I noticed that it was like freezing, so I didn't know if it was gonna crash.
Oh.
It's doing it again.
Okay.
Oh, that's nice.
We'll have to keep an eye on that. That's
yeah,
fun.
just we'll have to look at that. Anyway.
So you had a bad experience with construction because a variety of reasons, including, but not limited to, them blocking traffic and being in the road.
Yeah.
And I just had some dumb, ignorant blonde bitch who almost committed suicide unknowingly.
I don't know what's been going on recently. I don't know if it's like there's some sort of global brain rot happening.
It's the microchips in the vaccines.
Because there's got to be something, dude. Because the amount of traffic incidents I've seen alone has been
and been part of
significant. Okay.
Oh fuck.
Because I saw twice, okay, recently, twice, someone cross the double yellow line to overtake someone.
I've been seeing that a lot recently, too. People have been remarkably impatient recently.
That shit never even occurs to me.
Yeah.
I don't know where, I can understand, like, well, I could do this, and I would get to my destination marginally faster. But that thought never even occurs to me. I can understand why it would occur to you, and I can understand how it would, but for it to occur to you, not only occur to you, but also have you act on it, you need to have, like, an IQ of, like, 40. You should have your license taken away immediately.
Yeah. Now, how do you feel if, like, just say, hypothetically, someone in front of you was having car trouble, and they had their hazards on, and they were going, like, 12 miles an hour. And it's a big road. Like, it's your road over here. I know it's 2 lanes, but if it
hazards on, they're about to break down.
And they're going, like, 12 miles an hour in, like, a 40.
In my mind, they're already stopped. I'm saying normal traffic conditions.
Going speed limit, and they're just whipping people around.
Normal traffic conditions, using oncoming traffic to overtake someone, perish.
Yeah.
If you get into a head-on collision and die, I would laugh at you.
Yeah.
I would point and laugh.
Have you seen the video of I think it was a kid in it was either a Thunderbird or a Mustang, like an old style Mustang, who he's tailgating this fucking cement truck, and then he goes to whip around it without looking, and there's another cement truck, so he rips it right, and he goes sideways, and the cement truck takes out his rear end and just spins him. And then he's off on the side of the road, and the camera shows it. His whole car is, crumpled in, and somehow he's, in the shape of the car. He's literally like this, bent with the car, and they were able to just, pry him out, no problem. He wasn't even hurt.
I had a guy, I was pulling out of,
fucking crazy.
I was making a right turn, or left turn, sorry. I was making a left turn. It was definitely a left turn. So, and there was a guy behind me in a Honda something or other, Civic or an Accord or whatever.
It's always a fucking Honda.
That was, magneted to my ass. I'm telling you, I could tell you how many fillings were in this guy's teeth because of how close he was to me. I could look in my rearview mirror and be like, okay, he's got 4 fillings.
Yeah. Shit, it was me.
I could tell you, I could tell you what color his eyes were because how fucking close he was.
Yeah. And he had sunglasses on.
And then he went to go into the other lane to drive around me, and then proceeded to not go around me.
Just sat on the side.
He just sat on the side. I'm not sure what he was trying to do. If he was trying to get me to do a roll race or some shit. I'm not into that guy.
No.
All right? Right? Think about it. Because I drive, if you know what you're looking at, an okay car. It's an enthusiast thing. So, you're going to have people who are like, oh, you go race me. I'm not going to fucking race you, asshole. I'm trying to drive. I'm trying to get to Chipotle or McDonald's or some shit. I'm not trying to get a fucking felony speeding ticket right now.
Yeah.
Okay? And it's always people in the most piece of shit cars in existence.
Yeah.
It's they have a 98 Civic that sounds like a piston is about to exit this atmosphere.
And they want to race.
Or they have an 85 Dodge pickup truck that's been not even straight piped. There's just no headers even on it. It's coming straight out the engine. Straight out of the block. And it's just full of rust, and it's doing the V because the frame is damaged.
Yeah.
So
every time he accelerates, his motor fucking mounts are broken, so it just twists the
motor
horse.
spins before his wheels do. And it's always people like that. And I'm like, dude, if you really wanted me to race you, genuinely, I could do it without even breaking the speed limit. It wouldn't even be that hard. You realize, I imagine this car, or this truck probably had more horsepower when it was new, but from the years of abuse and the 500,000 miles you put on it, it's probably got a third of the horsepower my car has. Not to mention my car weighs 2,000 pounds.
Not to mention it's a manual, so you shift when you want to.
And this truck is 8,000 pounds. And also, or for the Civic guys, it's you didn't do any modifications to this, Kyle. You cut the muffler off. Loud isn't fast, dickhead.
Yeah.
That just bothers me. You see people who are obviously trying to goad you into a race. I'm not going to race you. Okay.
Yeah. I had that with a Subaru guy. Actually, they were he just pulled up on the side of me. I could just see him glance. I'm like, dude,
come
on,
man.
I have a base model car. It looks a little bit sporty, but it's a base model.
I'm trying to get home, bro. I'm trying to get home. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do whatever monkey business you're trying to get me to do.
The WRX guys are the best.
That'll work. Then it'll work on someone with who's to the left of the bell curve, but not me.
Yeah. Hey, I've always thought about this, but I feel like Civic guys and WRX guys definitely get together on Saturdays and blow each other.
Well, here's the thing though, Civic guys, it depends on the guy, right? Because there are people who build Civics fucking crazy, because I know those engines can take crazy power. However, there are For every one of those guys, there's 100 guys who just cut the muffler off and say they have a sports car now.
Yeah.
And don't upshift until they're at least 6,000 RPM. So
Fucking redlining.
they'll wake the whole goddamn neighborhood up. And WRX guys, I feel like, are a little more distinguished. Because
they usually look a lot nicer.
Because a WRX is a little more expensive. You can get a WRX for cheap, but even the cheap ones are going to be more expensive than a cheap Civic.
Right.
And, you know, you get a little more out of it. I feel like it's a slightly different type of person.
Yeah.
But it's definitely... I think they're both going to be Kyle and Kyle adjacent.
Yeah. Kyle adjacent behavior.
That being said, I have considered in the past getting a WRX because it ticks a lot of boxes for me, but also it being associated with WRX people is like, you know, whatever.
That's what disappoints me about them, is that they're really nice looking cars, but number one, they're Subarus, and number two, is people who
I would still get one, but I'm not like, it's not on my list of things I'm gonna
want
get.
like immediately.
Yeah. The thing is with those two is when you get older ones, right? Because then you get ones that are older, and they got higher mileage, and it's in the realm of affordability for like someone who's getting their first car, right? And it's up until, I don't know, recently, like this generation or the last one, there's only stick shift.
Yeah.
So what these guys want to do is stick shift all-wheel drive, 50-50 torque front and rear. There's no torque splitting that happens or whatever. And these guys will get them, and they're like, oh, it's a nice car. It's a fun car, fast car. I want to do a burnout. And you can get your tires to spin with all-wheel drive. But and even normally with front or rear, it's not good for the car. With all-wheel drive, it's especially not good.
Yeah.
So what happens is they'll do this. One, they don't know what they're doing. And two, all-wheel drive. So they will detonate the clutch immediately.
Yeah.
So a lot of times what happens when you get these cars, they need a clutch immediately because...
some asshole named Kyle fucking destroyed it.
Aside from all the other original problems you would have with a WRX, so like your head gasket and everything, the possibility that one of your pistons will decide that its time is now and just shatter, turn into dust, like, and just grenade your engine. So, you know, I just think, you know, you get to like more levels of distinguished as you move away from that spectrum.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like every car of any sort of caliber has its
annoying
stereotypes.
people.
So you have WRXs where it's always like these pissy fucking like 20-year-olds, you know? Civics, which is like usually some pissy 20-year-old or like a young kid. And then you have like Corvettes, which is always old people.
It's always
you have
old
Mustangs,
guys.
which is always like some asshole who always crashes into something because they don't understand rear-wheel drive live axle.
Or you also have similar with like a Dodge Challenger. But also, what you also see is maybe mid-30s, early 40s guys, not necessarily old. They get out and they have like, they yell at their girlfriend in public, or like she always got to put like makeup on because if she like wipes the makeup off, you can see she's got a black eye. I just feel like I associate Dodge vehicles with like domestic abuse for some reason. I don't know why I formed this association. But I do.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I got
It's just, you see guys that drive like Challengers and Chargers, and they just like, you look at them and most of the time you're like, maybe that guy's a domestic abuser. I could see him punching his wife in the mouth. I could see this happening.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. But Chris, have you played anything recently at all?
No.
You haven't played anything?
No, I've been sitting and withering.
Sitting and withering. I had a couple moments in Tiny Tina's Wonderlands that I thought one was funny and one I thought you'd kind of get a little bit of a haha out of.
Okay.
The first one being something that happened during a main story quest where fucking Claptrap, fucking the little robot guy,
Yeah.
called out basically the world. So there's a whole mission where you're trying to get him to become like the leader of these fucking entities called the Coiled or whatever. And he's like trying different voices. So you have to get him different voice modules. So like one is like a high-pitched voice, one's a deep voice, and there's like all these in-betweens, and then eventually he's like, let me use my regular voice, and he's like a fucking surfer dude. He's like, hey baby, hey mama, and he's doing shit like that. But right before you get to that point where he goes, I have to break out my regular voice, he makes a comment, and this comment almost went over my head, but then it clicked all of a sudden, where he goes, man, everyone's just really upset right now. Maybe I'll just do a really poorly done collaborative sing-song and publish that from my $1 million mansion and send it to them. And it just like went over my head and then came right back, and I was crying.
That's just in the archives for me. I hear about that. I remember that like it was yesterday. Because, if for the reference, to explain the joke, beginning of the pandemic, shit's shutting down.
Yeah, everyone's scared.
People are losing their goddamn minds. I saw a video of a woman having a legitimate mental breakdown in a Target. Okay? People are losing their fucking minds. People are losing their shit. Okay? To calm everyone down, here comes the elites, the mega millionaires, the celebrities who are not affected by this literally at all.
Yeah.
Tons of celebrities, like 15 or 20 of them, sang a rendition of John Lennon's Imagine, very poorly, might I add, where you could see like their mansions in the background. Listen,
white marble ceilings. And
yeah,
shit.
it's like, listen, if the things in this frame, this small narrow frame that you've showed me, add up to be like $40 million, you don't have an opinion. You don't get to have an opinion on this.
Yeah.
You don't have to have an opinion, okay? That, I remember that shit vividly, because I remember seeing that and going, is this real?
Yeah.
Is this real? And then I found out like more about it, and I was seeing like the individual clips, and I just started to get angry.
Yeah. Said you can't relate. Shut up.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not in fear of losing your job. Like,
I forget who made this take, by the way, or who had this take, so it's not an original thought from me. But there's the line in the beginning of the song, imagine there's no heaven. That must be comforting for grandma who's on her deathbed right now.
Yeah.
Who's on a ventilator, who's got like a week to live, maybe.
Yeah, if that.
I
forget
who originally said that, but that was
that's
just funny.
Fucking crazy. But that comment had me like in stitches. Like, to steal your fucking comment the other day, I was crying at my desk. Lexi's like, what the fuck's going on, man? And I tried to explain to her, but she never knew about that, so she didn't care. But I'm glad that you knew about it enough that your face when you realized where I was going. It was a good clap.
That's really funny. I didn't know the celebrity, the outpouring of like support from celebrities annoyed the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Over the pandemic, and even with like other crises, like when the Ukraine thing started, and it's like, why does this person who has no connections to Ukraine whatsoever have to make a statement about this?
Right.
You know?
Because somehow their statement's more powerful.
Because their statement means more. Like, I want to take a statement from, like, I don't know, one of the fucking Kardashians seriously. No, I'm not going to do that.
No. And the second thing from Tiny Tina's Wonderland, some keep trying to call it Tales from the Borderlands because they just announced the sequel, and I'm so fucking excited. Did you ever play the first one?
Yeah, I did.
They announced the fucking sequel. I'm so excited.
Damn.
It's supposed to come out this year. But the second thing from Tiny Tina's Wonderlands was I started a side quest, and just like the vibe it was giving me off just kind of reminisced as like familiar. It kind of brewed, and the quest was called The Ditcher. Like, this sounds weird.
Yeah, I see where this is going.
I was like, what the fuck is The Ditcher? So I all of a sudden fucking, you meet this guy, you fight these monsters or whatever, and you unleash like this fucking powerful being. And this guy shows up, and he's like, "You're an idiot. You've just doomed us all, and you're only going to succeed if I help you." And you're like, "Okay, well, who the hell are you?" And he goes, "Well, I am Garrett of Trivia.
Trivia.
I am well-renowned monster slayer, who has basically saved many people." And I was like, "Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. They're really doing this." But I didn't understand the name The Ditcher. So, as the quest fucking goes on...
Okay.
It turns out that every time you get in a combat scenario, he fucking runs.
He dips.
And he talks shit from behind the scenes. Every time you get in a combat encounter, he disappears. He goes, "Oh, gotta go now." And the whole time, he's just making fun of Geralt. The whole fucking time.
Damn.
He goes, as you're like walking to your next encounter, he's like, "You know, you wouldn't understand this because you're so low, but I've had sets with many, many powerful mages."
Oh,
and he's
man.
just going on tangents about like betting women and drinking and his horse and this and that, and he's just going off. And then finally at the end, he goes in front of the monster and he's like, "It is I, Garrett of Trivia, here to slay you." And he just gets fucking smashed with a hammer and dies. I was crying. Like, I just couldn't. All the little subtleties they were referencing was just great. I just love these parodies.
Speaking of The Witcher,
Glad you knew where I wanted this to
Garrett
go.
of Trivia.
Cheeto of Trivia.
Started reading the books, finally.
How's that going?
Pretty good. Let me kind of set the scene for you. High school. Going back to high school.
Ooh, going back a few years ago.
Every 2 weeks, every 5 weeks, whatever, we would have to sit and read a young adult sci-fi novel for English class. There was always a young adult sci-fi novel.
What teacher you had? About five
and
of them.
every single plot for those books is all the same. You cannot tell me otherwise. It's all like teenager who doesn't fit in, and this guy who it's a teenage girl who doesn't fit in. She's not like the other girls, and this guy who also doesn't quite fit in. And then they team up and they overthrow a fucking tyrannical government.
Yeah.
And then they have a romance in the end. And this is stretched out. This same plot is stretched out to 5 books. And it's all the same shit. Hunger Games, Divergent, Maze Runner. Yeah. I was talking to a friend of mine about this. And we both rattled off. We came up with like 10 or 15 different book series that are all the same plot. Yeah. Like, it's all the same shit. So that really took reading away from me, especially reading fiction. Because when I got back into reading, it was a lot of nonfiction stuff, a lot of factual stuff. And then like that kind of takes the wind out of your sails, because then you're like, there's no incentive to be like, because it's a lot of nonfiction is like, at least what I had been reading is like, look at this shit.
Yeah.
This is some shit that happened. Right? So there's not really an incentive to be like, oh man, I really want to know what happens next.
Right.
So now I'm reading fiction that I actually want to read, mind you. Pretty good.
Pretty damn good, yeah.
So I started the first book, The Last Wish. I'm like 2/3 of the way through it. So I think the first 2 books are a series of short stories. And like the show, they're all out of order.
Yeah.
However, it is much easier to place the order of the stories just because they're labeled. Like, right. You know, this is the time period that you're seeing now because it says, you know, this story, chapter 4 or whatever. So it'll give you like a chapter of the story, and then it'll move on to like a different story, which will have its own sub-chapters, basically. And so far, like, I actually understand the time jumps, which I don't think they did a very good job of
in the show.
With the first season of the show, which I'm very glad that they changed in season 2. That all being said, there's some stuff that was changed, like, to the between the show and the books, which I feel like a lot of fans didn't like, but that's the case with like literally everything.
Yeah.
It
can't be a direct adaptation.
Any series of anything, any book that's been converted into a movie or a show or whatever is different.
Yeah.
So
it has to. It's a 2-hour movie or an hour-long show spread out through 10 episodes or whatever.
Yeah, you can't do everything, and there is some stuff that's like accurate, and there's some stuff that's a bit different, and I understand why there's differences for both plot reasons or like for brevity's sake in this case, and for like, they want to probably connect more with the fans of the games with the show than fans of the books.
I feel like those two are very different, yeah.
And in the games, notably The Witcher 3, it's essentially all about Ciri, right? So they introduce her quick.
Immediately in the first season.
I haven't even seen or heard anything from Ciri, okay, in this book. All right? Maybe that's true, because you don't know. They have that scene. This is in season 1, part where, it's who ends up being Ciri's mother.
Yeah,
Pavetta.
Pavetta, yeah.
And it's Calanthia's Geralt at her court to like keep the peace, and, she needs to find a suitor for Pavetta, her daughter. And it devolves, and then Dooney shows up, the big Sonic the Hedgehog looking ass.
Yeah.
And then there was like, wow, we're going to fucking kill this guy. And it ends up that they don't kill him. And so there is a very brief mention of Ciri, not by name, because Dooney, after not dying, gets to marry Pavetta and thanks. He said, Geralt, I don't know how I can thank you as future king. I grant you anything. And he said, I'll claim the same reward you claimed from from King Rognar, I think his name was.
Rodnar, yeah.
It's basically the child surprise, the give me what you have but do not expect, essentially. Bam, announced Pavetta's pregnant. Not mentioned who it will be. So she hasn't been introduced at all. So there's a episode in season 2, the very beginning, where it's Geralt and Ciri are now on the run after the events in Sintra. And they come across this house, and Nivellen is there. And Nivellen is a man who has been cursed and turned into a beast.
Right.
Big creature.
But all fucking Cretan.
And it's implied in the show that Geralt had known him from before he was a creature.
When he was just a dude.
Because Geralt has infinite clout, even in the books.
Yeah.
He has infinite clout. It's a little more contested, I think, in the books, because there's people like, why is this asshole here? It's there are some people he doesn't know, and he's meeting for the first time, which is like not an occurrence in the fucking books or the movie or the show or the movie or the games. Christ.
Yeah, the show or the games.
The show or the games. It's just like, tell them Geralt of Rivia is here, and they know exactly who it is. They roll out the red carpet.
Yeah.
So anyway, as someone Geralt meets for the first time, which doesn't happen very often in the series, and in the book, he's meeting him for the first time as the Beast, and basically the events of the episode happen in that part of the story without Ciri. Ciri isn't there.
Yeah.
This is before Ciri. This is BC. And basically take the events of the show. Nivellen shows up. It's a bit different. So in the show, Ciri basically goes to bed. Nivellen and Geralt are shooting the shit,
throwing the
knives,
yeah.
And then because he's very vague about how he ended up getting cursed. He was like, "Well, we raided this temple or whatever."
And that's how
yeah, and then it's slowly revealed that the reason he got cursed is because he ended up raping one of the priestesses that was there, and she died and put like a fucking blood curse on him. In the book, he's meeting Nivellen for the first time, mind you, as a beast man. Mind you, Nivellen's very like, yeah, just come on in, man. They just start shooting the shit, and then Geralt's like, "So, what's up with your
face?"
Yeah, what's up with your face, man? And then he's just like, "Yeah, so basically, I was the head of this crew, and then we raided a temple, and then all these guys, they got together, and they pinned down one of the priestesses, and they watched me rape her, and that was it. And then she cursed me." He was very upfront about it. It was kind of strange, because I could understand why they changed that detail, because he was very, like...
A likable character at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, even in general, like, even in the book, he is fairly likable.
Yeah.
So... I don't know. I just think it was a weird change, and I think it was a little weirder in the books.
Just to be outright,
yeah, it's like, yeah. So this is this incredibly heinous thing that I did in order to get cursed.
And Garrett's like, "Yo,
my boy."
So how was it?
And
yeah, it's fucking weird.
It's just some strange changes, but I'm having a good time reading the books. There's, for as much in the games and the show, for as much sex as there is in those two things, not a lot in the books. Like, there's a lot of, it's implied a couple of times, where it's like, you see where this is going, and then you pick up, like, the next morning, or it's like, you see where this is going, and you move to, like, a new chapter. But it's not like, I feel like I'm glad it was done that way.
Right.
Because I feel it'd be very awkward to, like, read through. I'm like, why the fuck is this here?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to read some Witcher, man.
Yeah, and it's fucking describing Geralt's heinous acts.
Yeah. So, overall, I recommend.
Yeah. I'm glad you like the books because...
I will be picking up the second book.
Do you own it yet or no?
No.
No. With Metro, I kind of have the opposite effect where I'm like, this book kind of sucks, man.
Damn.
Like, I don't know. The Metro books are just, I feel like, random as fuck. I just don't understand why they're so well reclaimed. Like, the game's significantly better.
I don't know if this is the case with Metro, but in The Witcher, just as a franchise, there's so much world building and so much lore that reading the first book, mind you, not a lot of it is explained. So, just looked at the phone, by the way, and it had not been recording, so that's interesting.
It's recording right now?
It is now, but it wasn't a second ago.
Really?
So, yeah, go check that out. So, I don't know if this is the case in the Metro books, but in the Witcher franchise, there's a ton of world building and, like, lore that in the books isn't really explained.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they get into it because, there's still 7 more books.
Right.
But... it's just kind of established. Like, you just kind of start.
You're dropped in.
And you're following Geralt. I'm like, that's fine. But also, maybe I might want to know what's going on. And there is some, like, explanation of, like, what a Witcher is. But there's also not a ton of explanation of, like, the signs or anything.
Yeah. Different signs. I mean,
So, the only, like, real piece of lore that exists or that's given to you is, like, the origin of Witchers, essentially. Like,
right.
the origin of Geralt specifically is, like, well, he's got white hair because he's a Witcher, and he apparently was a really good in this Trial of the Grasses, so he got more mutations. So he's special. He's a special Witcher. He's a special little guy. And of all the Witchers, little Witchers that were given these extra mutations, he was the only one that survived. So his senses are amped, even compared to a Witcher, but his hair is white.
It's like a Master Witcher.
Yeah, he's like a
Elder Witcher.
He's like a tier 2 Witcher.
Yeah.
Like,
you put like all your stat points in.
Yeah. So that's like the only real thing that's explained. And I think like Vesemir is brought up like once or twice.
So far, yeah. Have they gone to Kaer Morhen at all?
No.
Yeah, it probably will be then.
There
would probably be like the game.
Yeah.
Host.
There is mention of Kaer Morhen, but
by name or just like as the Witcher hub?
By name. It's like I came from Kaer Morhen to Witcher Keep or was, and then it was destroyed, but they don't explain like
How?
everything that had happened.
Right.
Because there's a lot that had happened.
Right. Yeah, that made sense. Yeah, the Metrobots have a lot of world building, and it's not quite as like holy shit because it's modern. So I'm not like, who the fuck are the fucking red faction? Who's that? Like it's like Russia and the United States and then Europe, like the rest of Europe, and I'm like, okay, I know these things.
Yeah, so it's like real places is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's all pre-established stuff. It's just expanded on. Like it's the Soviet Union. Like I know what that is. I don't need explanations for what that is. It's just that they're still around.
I need a description of like what Sintra is like, or what what this place or that place is, because those places don't exist.
Right, like it takes place in Moscow, in the fucking metro system. Like I can kind of piece together in my head what that looks like.
At least from my understanding, does exist.
At least from what I know. But also the games that I've played to also take place there. So I have I kind of just envision that in my head in a way. So that part of it's not too bad. The thing I have that's like just so fucking annoying about the Metrobots is they just drag everything out. Like there's just like pages of this motherfucker eating. And I'm just like, can we do anything? Like, it'll just be like descriptive material that's just overly descriptive. Like, I'm all about descriptions. Like, I want to get engrossed. I want to pretend like I'm there. But, like, I don't need to know how many flies were buzzing around the trash can and at what speed and fucking direction they were headed. Like,
yeah, that's strange.
It'll just be like, oh, Artyom's sitting down. Now he puts his right hand on the table. Now he reaches for his fork. Like
there's not a ton of that in The Witcher. It's like there are some chapters of the book. There's at least one chapter where it's just like fucking Geralt talking at someone for an entire chapter, and it's not a very long chapter. It's like 2 or 3 pages. And he delivers this like fucking massive piece, which in the games, he don't say much. In the show, he don't say much either.
Yeah, he's pretty reserved.
Obviously, in the books, you don't have that liberty of like seeing body language and expressions and stuff. So you have to obviously do a little more speaking.
A little more speaking, and then descriptors of like he squints his eyes.
Yeah,
and shit like
that. So he's pretty wordy in the books, and he kind of delves more on the Eivor side, where he kind of is flowery and poetic and in the way that he speaks sometimes.
This literal his job, like his role in society, is to kill, and he's like, to be or not to be.
It's not quite Eivor, but he's definitely a lot more. There's a lot more flourish the way he speaks than there is in the games.
Well, in the games, he's very much just like to the point. Like, don't get me wrong, there are parts in the game where Geralt's a little like witty. Like, you can tell he's very intelligent.
Yeah.
But most of his dialogue is just like, yep, come with me. Like, that's it. Or it'll be like, tell me about this, tell me about that.
I'll take care of this monster, but not for that price.
Yeah, like shit like that, dude. Eivor, I honestly, dude, I might have thrown the towel in with Valhalla. Like, I don't know if I can just force myself to do it anymore. There's just something so unappealing about this Dawn of Ragnarok DLC, and I was so excited for it to come out. And just that intro sequence, I was like, this is buggy, this is ugly, the dialogue is bad, the acting is bad. I was like, I think I'm just done. Like, I don't know. They're announcing like year 2 of Valhalla, and I'm like, I just don't think I'm gonna be there for year 2.
Year 2 of Valhalla.
It's gonna be their first ever supported Assassin's Creed
This is
game
strange. You're seeing
launch.
like some fucking entropy happening because Ubisoft has never supported a game for this long, other than I'm assuming Siege.
Yeah, Siege is on year 7 or 8. So.
But yeah, but Siege went well, and then you're also seeing entropy with that too because the player base has probably done this recently
For Siege.
Yeah.
No, it has been up. Like, it's like one of the most played multiplayer games.
No shit.
But I know, like, over time, it's kind of done this because they always fuck something up.
Oh yeah. So.
But you know what Ubisoft's been doing, which is weird. They've been like almost retconning decisions on like old games. Like, the Crew 2 is getting like a new year pass. Like, it's weird shit they've been doing.
Who the fuck bought the Crew 2?
Dude, I bought the Crew when that came out on PS4, and it was so bad that, there was no chance.
I got the Crew for free, and I remember I played it, and I was like, this is fine, I guess, but, like, if I want to get cool stuff, I have to play the story. Oh, shit, I remember it's a Ubisoft game, and these games, they're not built crazily well. So what you can do is you can load up Cheat Engine, and like change your values around. Like you can, if you buy something at one of the shops, you can track your amount of money that changed, and then you can go in and edit that value. And that works in like all the Far Cry games and everything. So it had worked for me in the past. So I was like, I tried to do that, and it gives you that amount of money, and then like the second you go to like a loading screen, it immediately erases it. So I was like, I can't cheat money in. And that was the only way I would have fun with this game. I'm not going to play this game.
I feel like if you just want like a good racing game, you just get Forza.
Here's my point, right? I agree. With games like that where it's like an open world driving thing, I feel like there shouldn't really be a lot of hurdles to getting cars that you would want.
Like fun cars, yeah.
Like, if you want, say you start the game with like a
Civic SI.
yeah, like a Civic SI. No, let's jump it up a couple notches. Type R, Civic Type R, which is a fine car on its own, but for at like level 6, I can get a C7 Corvette. I'd much rather have that.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like it should be tied to level.
It shouldn't be like
in-game money.
Oh, maybe that too, where it's like, as you progress, maybe you get like up to this level and they just give you the car.
Yeah.
Rather than, you would need to be this level, and then you also need to have 325,000 credits.
To buy the car, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Or they need a sandbox mode, so the main story, where maybe that's what you do is some level of progression.
Maybe,
or
yeah.
Like and then
and
a
I
sandbox
know
mode.
a lot of places, I know a lot of games do have that, but also sometimes the sandbox is also limited. Like, you can only play stuff that you've unlocked in the game.
Yeah, that's like the weirdest version of a sandbox. But this isn't a sandbox. This is free roam.
You should be able to jump into every driving game. I think. Then let me cap off this statement as like what I actually mean. Every driving game should at least have a mode where you can load in, pick any car, and go anywhere in the map.
And put obstacles. You should be able to put like ramps and
place
shit.
things. Yeah, that'd be cool
That
too.
would be sick.
So
like BeamNG Drive.
Yeah, they should have like a BeamNG Drive mode.
Yeah.
Where you just like you can spawn in cars, you can have people chase you and
can
do
set
whatever.
routes of people. Yeah. Like
You can
crazy shit.
put ramps and you can crash your car and stuff,
Yeah.
and there's no consequences.
Right.
Because otherwise, if you have to play through the whole story, no one cares.
Yeah, it's not fucking Fast and Furious.
Shit
sucks.
So
Fast and Furious story sucks, and it's better than fucking The Crew.
I don't even remember what the story of The Crew even was.
I just remember it being the game we talked about before. It's like your brother just dies.
Yeah.
But I don't really remember
I do
much
remember
after
that. It's like your brother, your friend, or someone, and you're like, they introduce him. They do the Ubisoft thing. They introduce him, and he immediately fucking dies.
Yeah.
I think every Ubisoft game I've played has had that.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Valhalla, introduce parents, dead. Far Cry 4 had this? Who gets introduced and immediately dies?
In 4?
I know in 5 it's your squad.
So in 4, I don't think anyone immediately dies because you start off at Pigman's hut. And 3, it's all your fucking friends.
Yeah, so
when
3,
you parachute in.
friends, dead. 4, maybe not a death immediately. 5, your whole crew, missing or dead.
Yeah.
Right? 6, your friend, dead.
Yeah.
Immediately. Valhalla, parents, dead immediately. The crew, brother, friend, dead immediately. I'm assuming the same thing happens to
Immortals,
the crew too.
Phoenix Rising, brother, dead immediately.
It's just like such the laziest way to create a dramatic story. At least give him a character first before you kill him.
This is why games like Red Dead 2 are so good because
it's like I don't give a shit if this guy died. I don't know who he is.
There's plenty of deaths in Red Dead 2 and every single one is so good.
Yeah.
Because you've just progressed through this whole world and got to know these characters. Like, imagine if you're introduced to Arthur Morgan in the first chapter and he just dies and you're like...
And then he just, like, he trips face first into a puddle and drowns.
And you're just like, okay.
Like,
who do I get
you're
to play
introduced to Arthur Morgan. You descend from the mountain, and then that first fight you get into with Tommy, he just beats you to death. You just die.
In the puddle.
He beats you to death, and then it just rolls credits.
And then it's a remaster of Red Dead 1. You're like, what the fuck?
And then and then it just snaps to the epilogue.
Yeah.
Man.
Dude, that fight with Tommy's pretty fucking epic, though.
I think it's pretty good.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty good. Or you go down and you do that first train robbery, and it ends up that you have to do the dynamite and you fuck it up and blow yourself up. And
it does the dead thing, and then it goes rolls credits.
It just rolls credits.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like if I met Jordan, say, if I didn't know who Jordan was, and then he's like, "Hey, I'm Jordan," and then he gets shot in the face, I'd be like, "Holy shit! I just saw someone get shot in the face."
But it wouldn't be like, "Holy shit! I just saw Jordan get shot in the face." Like, "Oh my god, this is devastating."
Like, "Holy shit! I just saw a human being's life end right in front of me." It would be, it'd be a much different reaction than like if Jordan got shot in the face right this second. I'd be like, "Yes, yes, finally!"
But it's all because he knows me, so you see where the emotion kind of affects the outcome.
No, I would be a little more affected if Jordan got shot in the face right now. So you build a character. It's just like, you become friends with someone, then they die.
It's usually a lot more sad than when you read an obituary for someone you didn't know.
And it's like, this fucking old person died yesterday. Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
This person that I have no idea who they are, dead.
Yeah.
That's just such a lame way to build a story.
And to give your character like some sort of redemption arc or something like.
And it's like it just feels hollow. Your whole quest.
The best part about Valhalla is they set it up like better than most of their games. So, like your dad dies and you got the Ats and you're like, it's Varl's Ats, and then he's just never fucking brought up again. Your dad just doesn't appear again. Like,
hey, you know how it is.
Yeah, not like even the whole wolf thing. Like with Valhalla.
Oh yeah.
What confuses me about the wolf thing is like they call your character Eivor Wolfkiss because you survived the wolf attack. But right as that really cool thing, the wolf attack is happening, the Animus just glitches out and it fast forwards you to like 30-year-old Eivor. Like, why not show us like the wolf attack and like make it this drawn out thing where you have this dramatic scene and the wolf tackles him and then all of a sudden he stands up and he has the blood in his face and then it can glitch out and cut to him as like now raiding someone, and it just zooms in on his face. You know what I'm saying? Like if it did a scene transition where Eivor stands up as a child and is just covered in blood, and then all of a sudden it cuts, the Animus glitches out and it cuts to like quote unquote now, and he's running towards like a fucking monastery, and he has the scar, and you're like, oh shit. Or no, it just cuts and he's like, I am Eivor the Wolf. Just
or you have the crazy thing where in Red Dead 2 where. In the epilogue, when you fight, you're doing bounty work with Sadie, and you're like trace this one guy, and he's like out in the woods, and a massive fucking bear shows up, massive bear, and there's this big moment of tension where it's like bear gets you, and you're like on the ground, and it's like, oh shit, you gotta shoot the fucking bear 36 times in the face.
Yeah.
That's like tension. I'm like, and if you don't make that event, if you don't shoot the bear, you get eaten.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe they could have put something like that in so there's like tension. They ramp it up a bit and you're like, oh my god. And then you get munched in the face and you get the scar. And then it snaps to like the future.
Yeah. I just think I can just perfectly envision like a really cool scene where like Eivor has the Ats and he's fighting these wolves, and then he like gets tackled off camera, and then it cuts to all of a sudden like just think about it. It happens on the ice. Remember, it happens on like the ice. You could have like that mountainous view in the back, and he stands up and he just has like blood coming down his face, and you just snap to like literally him now raiding, or she now, depending on which one you're playing, raiding a monastery, and then it pits up with the gameplay, and you're like, oh shit, I'm raiding the monastery.
Yeah.
But no, it's more just like, oh, the Animus glitched out, and then you go back to the real world, and you're talking to the real world people, and then you go back to the Animus, and you're just
oh my god, I forgot about that part of the game because it was so unimportant to me.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that.
Did you ever beat Valhalla?
No.
You don't know how wild it gets then, do you?
No.
Do you care?
Not particularly.
Spoiler alert for some reason if you care about the main story of Valhalla. That game gets wild.
Does it? Do you not? Okay, so you have to do the same thing 5-6 times in a row, and then it gets crazy.
So the ending is essentially this massive, fucking crazy occurrence where Layla, the real world now girl who's going in the Animus, and Eivor both go to this temple. And this temple has robot arms that grab you and use you as like a host. So Eivor gets trapped as a host and fights his way out. Right? And you remember Basim? The Assassin's Brotherhood guy?
Yeah.
You fight Basim with Sidmund? What's the brother's name? I think it's Sidmund. I think it's Sidmund or whatever. The brother's name. You fight Basim and you throw him into the machine. And then you leave. And you're like, man, Basim's fucking crazy. But then it shows Layla going there, and Basim's still there, alive in the future, because the machine preserved him. So she sets him free, and he betrays her and traps her in the machine. So then Basim goes back to the real world people and starts working with them and being like, yeah, I don't know, I never knew Layla. And now Basim, this dude from the Viking Age, is currently in the 22nd century. And he's just chilling, and that's how the game ends. He's just chilling. He befriends Layla's friends after he fucking stuck her in this machine.
That's not even slightly where I expected that to go.
It's wacky. What did you expect?
Well, what I was thinking was like, oh, you do the whole thing because the gameplay loop here is you pledge to an area, you show up, you fuck people up, you make friends.
Pledge to another area.
Yeah, exactly. You fuck people up, you make friends with certain people, and then you fight a big bad at the end. You fight some boss, and then at the end it's like, oh, it all works out in the end. And then like you do the same thing, I don't know, 6 times. And that's it. Like
12, but yeah.
So it's a shitload of times. So you show up, whoop ass, disappear. Show up, whoop ass, refuse to elaborate, single-handedly, instate an entirely new ruler into this society, just by yourself, because Eivor's a demon.
Yeah,
you can show up and just start clicking, and everyone around you's dead. So you do that, and then there's like it devolves into a crazy sci-fi plot.
Yeah.
That annoys me. That aspect of Assassin's Creed as a series has always annoyed the shit out of me.
Right.
That's why I never really liked it that much. That was one of the elements that really took me out of it. Because I'm like, oh shit, I'm doing cool Assassin's shit. Oh. Now I gotta be this asshole for a while.
Yeah.
Like, I don't.
At least it was done well with the Desmond stuff, but it's still, that was always my least favorite part
fuck
too.
Desmond. Who gives a shit? I want to be an assassin. If they nixed that part from the series entirely, I would like it a lot more.
I just think they should cut their losses and just make a different game. Like, instead of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, just make a new series. You can still use the name, because I know they want to use the name for money. But just drop all the Animus stuff. And that's kind of what they did in this game. There's a lot less Animus stuff.
No, I mean get rid of it completely.
Yeah, I know. We'll see. Maybe.
Completely.
I'm interested to see what's next, though. But I'm done.
Yeah.
I got D&D in like an hour. That's fun.
All right.
Is that it? That's it for the show, I guess.
That's it. That's the end.
We're retiring.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm dying.
It's done.
I'm back.
So, as always, if you want to find the podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Radio Public, Spotify, and of course, Pocket Cast. There's also the RSS feed. Import it into your favorite podcasting app. And as always, send us your comments, questions, concerns, and death threats to our email, synapsemisfire@pm.me, and Instagram and TikTok. You can send them there. We'll read them out in the show. We also have the YouTube comment section. Pretty self-explanatory. And, check out Instagram and TikTok for those shorts as well.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Mm-hmm.